from ourselves at FishPal. I've got a fabulous photo that was sent in by Tracy Stronach. She said hubby has made a temporary fly tying corner in the living room to see us through this blip as it's too cold in the shed. Now, she said she's guessing my rainy days will have rainbows. I also know I've got some fly sent in from Gordo and Cheyenne Stronach. So everybody keep sending in your flies. The lockdown fly tying competition finishes on the 13th of April. So you've still got a few more days to send in your entries. Also as well is do keep direct messaging all your photos like the one that Tracy sent in to me at FishPal on FishPal's Facebook Live. I've already got somebody on this morning, David James Murray. Good morning, David. I'm going to hide this and I'm now going to show my first guest in the stream. So every Thursday, we are hosting a question and answer session with my boss, Mark Cockburn. Morning, Mark. How are you doing at the moment?
Good morning, Anne. Good to see you and hear you. I'm doing fine, thanks. Yeah, I can't believe it's Thursday already, but marching through the week.
Well, last Thursday you came on. You were chatting us about what's happening with FishPal. Tell us a little bit from last Thursday to now what FishPal have been doing.
Yeah, okay. So we have been pretty busy, actually. One of the things that's kept us busiest is trying to cope with all the different changes of people's dates for fishing. So if you happen to be fishing during this first lockdown period, then 99% of people have now been marked forward to fish on that same bait later in the season. And it's also been done with the goodwill of the proprietor, who have also not asked for any increase in price, even though typically, as you well know, later in the season prices can be quite a bit more expensive than right now. So that's kept us pretty busy because that is literally hundreds and hundreds of bookings that we've had to deal with. But as I say, we're just about broken the back of it now. So we are now waiting for news about the next lockdown period.
Well, yesterday we've seen a rise of 938 in the number of deaths in hospital patients who've tested for COVID-19. Highest number so far. We've also got the Prime Minister still in hospital as well. There seems little chance of this lockdown being lifted, Mark.
Yeah, well, we actually thought that we might have got something last night, but apparently the government senior team are meeting today, and it's quite likely that that meeting will perhaps give us an indication now of just when the next end lockdown date is. They've talked about delaying that because they've not got all the evidence, but they need to probably be a bit more specific than that. And for us, of course, that means once we know that date, once we've been given the next lockdown date, we can then, as a matter of course, contact every single individual angler and once again start the process of hopefully rebooking them and for later in the season too. But until we get the government's say so, we're just waiting with bated breath as to what we do. But as soon as we do, rest assured, those who have got fishing booked within that period will contact you personally and sort you out. So stay with us and we'll get through that period as well.
So can I be clear? Up until the 13th of April, which was the initial lockdown time, you've actually, well, FishPal have contacted everybody that has booked fishing with them, and everybody's actually now been contacted, had their fishing either rebooked for this year, next year, or with the owners. Is that right?
Absolutely, 100%, yes. And of course, the early part of the season is not the busiest part for fishing, but as you get into this next couple of months, April into May, you're into traditionally busy time for May, spring fishing. So the numbers of rebookings that we'll need to do in this next period are going to ramp up quite considerably. So we just need to pin it down to the period and then get on with it. But that's exactly what we'll do, Anne, and make sure that people can still look forward to fishing later in the season.
So from next week, obviously Tom's back. Tom isn't in the office at the moment. Have a lovely couple of days off, Tom, because he's working extremely hard, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. These rebookings are mainly been done by Tom, and the contact through the info@FishPal email box has been looked after by him as well. So it's not always quite so straightforward as you can imagine. So this time around, we've learned from the first way we've dealt with the calls, and it should be much more slick this time. Individual emails to individual anglers on their specific dates that will ask them to pick dates for, sometime future in the season. So it should be, fingers crossed, an awful lot smoother as we go into this next period.
So for any of the, we're now starting to get into the busy time for not only ourselves, but also as well for fisheries, for beats. So are you actually going to be working at a week at a time? So next week you'll start focusing on the people who are fishing next week, or will you just do the whole lockdown period?
We'll do the whole lockdown period, because whether it's next week or the week after, whichever is captured by the lockdown period, it doesn't really matter, because unfortunately, that particular angler, of course, is not going to manage to go fishing.
Yeah.
So between now and the next lockdown end date, we'll have sorted out everybody again. Yeah. So they've got the new dates, they've got it all confirmed, it's back in their diaries, and they've got something to look forward to. So, but we will stagger it over that period to make sure that we can cope with the volume of rebookings that we're going to have to do. So, but we'll get there, and it's just part of the goodwill that we want to do just now. We want to be doing this all together. We want to get through this horrible period, but most of all, we want to have something to look forward to. So all these rebookings and dates to fish some point in the future is going to be good fun. Yeah.
And this is goodwill as well, isn't it?
Yeah, because we don't actually earn any income in any of this, because all these bookings have already been made. We are just simply contacting everybody to get them rebooked, as I say, into the future. So, but at times like these, you've got to just step up to the plate and deliver, and that's, I think, what we're trying to do. Even the proactive approach to the calls in the morning. I love these 11 o'clock calls. It puts a smile on your face. I absolutely loved Malcolm yesterday. He's such an amazing guy. Spent a lot of time with Malcolm, and he's a great fisherman. He's got so many good stories. So it just, for a half an hour or so, or sometimes a little bit more, it's just a bit of good fun. But from my perspective, it gives me a chance to let you guys know, just from a FishPal perspective, kind of what's going on as well.
Well, we've got Claire Haggis on tomorrow, and everybody, we've got a competition as well. We're going to do a competition with Claire, and we're going to pre-record it, so you've got it over the weekend. Going to give some shout outs here, Mark, because lots of people just come on. Hugh Lawrence, he said, anyone think May fly season, my May month may go ahead? What do you think, Mark?
My best guess, and I've been asked this 100 times, is that I can't see us fishing possibly before the middle of May at the earliest.
Yeah.
If you think about the 3 weeks we've just gone through, there's no chance, I think, there's going to be any fishing in April. I think that's almost a gimme.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll go as far as the end of May, because the world needs to somehow get through this and start to get back to life. But what I think will happen, and this is through conversations that I'm having with people from all different walks of life, government and beyond, they may well stage it into a softly approach to start with. So from a fishing perspective, for instance, that might mean that fishing's open to local anglers rather than people traveling and staying away. That might be just what happens. But of course, I say might, and I've said might and could be and all the rest of it for some weeks now, because until we actually know the detail, I guess we don't know.
Yeah, well, we know that the domestic market will be extremely important in phase post-lockdown, and very likely for the remainder of the 2020. And consensus among commentators is towards domestic tourism and staycations being the driving force behind the recovery strategy for Scotland. So as people start to see outdoor activities, day outdoor activities as becoming popular. Let's go back onto the people that have actually come onto the Facebook Live, and huge thank you to everybody who has come on again this morning to support this Facebook Live. We've got you Lawrence, to just answer your question. Scott Rutherford, morning. Anna, Mark, hope you're both well. Noel Sutherland, hope so, lad, that it will be out fishing. Good morning, Nick Charlton. Hope you're doing well all the way up there in the far north of Scotland. Simon Cassidy said good morning. Peter Green, keep up the good work. Graham Cargill, morning from everyone at the McSkadget clan. I miss you guys if you didn't come on. So good morning, everybody. Matt Francie, Stuart Davis, Teresa Thompson. Hello, morning all, with a nice fish sign next to that. I like these fish signs. So, you, Lawrence, what flies to use in August? Now, Mark, That was a question for Malcolm at Caledonia. I think I need to get him back, don't I?
Yeah, don't ask me. I don't know anything about fishing. Absolutely. So.
Oh, well, we've got John Trodden. Good morning, John. John heads up the River Spey Anglers Association, do huge things for young people on the River Spey. He said, good to hear that bookings are being honoured by beat owners. Difficult time for them too. What would you say about that, Mark?
I mean, to be honest, it's so incredible because as a fisherman, and you book your fishing, and there'll be everybody who's listening to this just now. I've had the time when they've not been able to fish, usually because the river's in flood, for instance, and they've been so hacked off, they've not had their money back, and it's been just down to that's kind of how it is in our fishing world. But now, this is so unprecedented and so different that absolutely everybody I've spoken to, as I say, from proprietors to anglers to whoever else, they've all tried to work together to make sure that people are not losing out. And of course, it might well just be a one-day, one-rod booking that costs not that very much. But for the person who's done that, made that booking, it could actually be quite significant as far as just what their spend and what they can do is. So we're trying to sort everybody out. Just one more point in this one, though, on your point about international fishermen. There's really probably little chance of having a serious input from international anglers on our rivers this season. Even if we do get back to some sort of normality, the likelihood of these guys coming from all the various corners of the world to come and fish over here is pretty slim. Therefore, one of the things we're trying to work on with proprietors right now is you need to think about your beat restrictions. So have you got that, in a place where you're happy that you can have much more local type business coming your way? So not necessarily for the full 3 days for 3 rods or a whole 6 days for 3 rods, because that type of booking will be more difficult against that backdrop of staying at home stuff. So just something to think about, and we're working on that part as well, just to get as much availability when we can fish back on the system again.
And I've been speaking to gillies that work on estates, and they're worried as well about their jobs. This year, they're saying, obviously because of they've been furloughed, they're at least getting paid for the next 3 months. But it's next year when some of these bookings have gone into next year that they're worrying that the income won't be there, and they're worrying about their jobs, Mark.
Yeah, I think there's nobody in this world right now who's not in that position. And to be honest, I don't really think that's even just a fishing type problem. I understand completely where the gillies are coming from, but all I would say to that is we're daft as a brush, us anglers. We just cannot not go fishing. So I promise you, as soon as we get a chance to get back out there, these guys are going to be busier than they've ever been in their entire lives. And it's got to be against the backdrop of a river having been rested, as we've talked about before, and hopefully some, pretty damn good fishing to look forward to as well. Yeah. And that's what's keeping me going. And I know when I'm speaking to a number of anglers, that's what's keeping them going as well. They've pinpointed the pool they're going to. They know the fly they're going to put on. They're ready. The kitchen clean, the bag's all nice and tidy. Everything bar putting the stuff in the boot of your car is now actually being looked after. So, yeah, but it's still tough, and it's that unknown factor of not knowing just when that's going to be that's driving people absolutely crazy right now. I'd love to be able to get a date so that I can start planning myself something to look forward to.
Yeah, well, we've
got. Who's going to man the FishPal office, by the way, when we do get told that we can get back fishing, because everybody's going to want to go fishing, aren't they?
Don't worry, everybody. I'll be picking the phones.
Oh, you'll do it. Yeah, okay.
So we've also got Hugh Lawrence. He says, fair play, Mark. Peter Page, well done, guys. Peter McGree. I'm going to come back to that one. I don't know. Do you know Peter McGree by any chance?
I don't know. Right. Maybe I do. I don't recognise the name.
Guys, I don't know. I was there wondering if you knew him. Cameron Roth, morning. Hugh Lawrence, a Chinese should pay our wages. I agree with that one as well. So Ian Griffiths, Ian Wilson, Ian Shaw, keep up the good work, but most of all, keep safe. Philippa Haight, good morning, Philippa. If you want to see, we had Philippa on Sunday. You can actually watch that again as well. Dylan Dunbar, good morning. Robert Frago, good job from FishPal. Simon Cassidy, he said he's lost a Swedish trip already. Fingers crossed for the obviously for the Tweed later on. Eric Greenwood, morning. It was nice to meet at the Glasgow Angling Open Day. You and your family keep safe. Best wishes, Eric. Huge thank you, Eric. That was really sweet. So we've also got Darren Franklin, morning from the Welsh Massive. So nice to have Wales on as well this morning. Jason, good morning from Newcastle. Why I Pet. George Dell, morning all from the Thurso. Hi, everybody.
Morning.
Mark Barrow, morning. Peter Page, morning from Grandtown on Spey. The river is looking perfect. Now, I know you like the
Oh,
Spey.
don't tell me that. Oh, dear.
You've got Linda Ellison Dowdall. Good morning from the Masons Arms in Norham. Good morning. They're going to be affected. All our accommodation providers. It's like everything's just been put on hold, hasn't it, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think that stage plan towards maybe getting back to fishing might be wise, because I don't see them just saying, right, everything's back to normal, off you go and stay in a hotel, go fishing. I'm not sure if they'll be able to do just that, but they'll do it as quickly as they possibly can, because every single hotelier and every single bed and breakfast and self-catering accommodation provider, they want to be open and back in business too. So hopefully sooner rather than later, as always. I see John's on from Norway as well. It's interesting. We've got a number of people that we actually helped John bring out to Norway, and again, that starts 1st of June this season there, and you're just in that place right now. I wonder if that's actually going to come off or not. So I'm touching wood, I'm crossing my fingers and everything else for people that are heading out to to Scandinavia to go fishing, because some people have been going there for many years and won't want to miss their trip.
Well, I've actually gone and looked at some international, what's happening international, and Denmark. They've got plans to reopen daycare centres and schools on the 15th of April as a first step to gradually relaxing a 3-week lockdown. All remaining restrictions, including a ban of gatherings of more than 10 people, are staying in place till the 10th of May. And in France, there's some really good things coming out here as well. France destination management company Besta Tours are offering a 10% discount on all their destinations, including Scotland, to all public workers in France from the 1st of September. So this 1st of September date seems an interesting one, doesn't it, Mark?
It does. Well, I mean, as I said earlier, I actually think we'll be back fishing long before then.
Yeah.
My personal gut feeling, and it's almost because the whole economy is suffering just now. So, to get people through the worst and staying at home is, of course, absolutely what we're still to do right now.
Yeah.
But for how long, I don't know. I can't see it being as long as that. I really can't. Otherwise, not just the fishing industry, but many, many industries across the country will really implode. And that's just not good for our overall economy, as I say. So we won't do it until it's time. That's the important thing. We'll have to be guided and take the advice of government and all the chief medical people. But as I say, when they do say, off you go, there'll be a stampede of people heading for the river.
It'd be like an opening day.
Yes.
Ian Shaw, he said, Mark, my gear has never been so well organised and clean. Flies tied and all to go, good a go. Once that whistle goes. Now, David, we've also got Gary Scott on. Good morning, Gary. We're hoping to get Gary on sometime in the next couple of weeks as a guest as well. David Bewley, he says, what do you think the protocol could be for May fishing? Obviously, with a lockdown, coming in. Well, people being able to go fishing. These could be beats. There could be beats available, but social distancing, I guess, will still be enforced. This making the gillies' presence almost useful. Difficult times for the whole of this season, in my eyes. What's your thoughts on that, Mark?
Yeah, I think the lessons I've learned just with all the social distancing, the keeping apart, there will definitely be ways in which you approach your fishing once it's back open that will be different to how we used to do things. The simple shaking of a gillie's hand is a simple example, so we're probably still going to be trying to keep our distance. We're not over this, and it'll take a while to get right through, but the gillie can still be there, hopefully from a distance, giving you the steer, telling you where to go, what the flies are you want to be using, but just not get that close. So things like interaction in the hut, you need to think through just whether that's wise or not. In better weather, hopefully things like lunch can be outside, and just simple things that can make things happen. But there's not many people go fishing with somebody standing right on their shoulder. Even a gillie tends to stand far enough back for you to feel that you're absolutely there, on your own some. But they're always just, near enough to give you a shout or to land a fish, hopefully, if you're so lucky. But it will be different to start with, and I think it'll take a while for it to go back into what you might call the old way of doing things, if it ever does, actually.
Yeah, well, I think from Davy's perspective as well is that he works with a lot of beginners, and if you're a beginner and somebody new to the sport, that help of being able to have the rod guided to be able to do that cast is really important. Though, can I just say, I've had some entries on the Beamerside Trophy, the junior entries, and one particular young lad, he actually learned to spey cast watching YouTube, and he actually caught more fish in the October day he fished than the rest of the party. So I would highly recommend YouTube. Philippa Haig, that's how she learned to fly tie as well on YouTube. Now, we've also got Ian McKenna, good morning from Cumbria. Mark Smith, morning Anne and Mark. Love listening. And can you give a shout out to the Kinnabar Syndicate on the North Esk? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Now, so Steve Atkins, do you think no fishing in spring will do the fish any good unhindered on their travel?
No, I think we're going to have all sorts of issues to have to face into, aren't we? Let's face it.
Yeah.
But it'll start local, and there's enough people locally that can get to rivers that can really kickstart the whole fishing season again.
Yeah.
It will be annoying and frustrating for those that do have to travel a distance to get there, because that still may not be possible. But think about the big rivers of Scotland, like the Tweed. We know from looking at our data behind the scenes on the FishPal site that the River Tweed is fished mainly by Yorkshire anglers.
Yeah.
The biggest population of people who fish Tweed are from Yorkshire. That's doable because it's not so far away.
Yeah.
If you look at the Tay, which is another big popular, big salmon river, those who fish the Tay typically are coming from the Scottish Central Belt of Glasgow and Edinburgh. So again, they can get up there and they could get back fishing fairly quickly. Yeah. Your destination rivers, your Dees and your Spays, they're the ones that might be a little bit more difficult, but don't underestimate the number of local anglers that they have up there too, who would be just desperate to get back on the river. Particularly, as I say, when it's been shut down for so long and prospects so good.
Well, Ian Shaw said, social distancing may make the angler in front move quicker through the pool every time a single edge. What they do is cough behind them, and trust me, they'll move. I've actually used that this week. They had these people walking towards me, and I thought, they haven't seen me. So I thought, I'm going to try, and I coughed in my hand. Yeah. I have never seen people stop so quickly and move out the way. So that's a top tip for everybody. If you want somebody to move, just cough.
Obviously, I took a call this morning, Anne, just before we came on. Believe it or not, there was still somebody asking, can I go fishing?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it. I'll not tell you who it was or where they were going, but they genuinely thought that they could be going fishing. And actually, there is an argument that says the lockdown's till the 13th of April. So please, government, come out and tell us what's going on so we can actually manage people's expectations. And I think that's more where it was coming from.
Yeah. Well, with the poaching, yesterday we posted on FishPal, Aberdeen and District Angling Association, the poaching incident on Kemnay. He said, just been informed that the river bailiffs have caught 3 men in connection with ongoing poaching incidents, and all 3 have subsequently been charged. Well done.
Yeah, excellent.
As always. Since last week when I said I saw 4 anglers on my local river, I've now counted 9.
Is that right?
So unbelievable, and I feel really sorry. So I've now actually gone and contacted the angling club and asked a couple of other people to contact them to just get the message correctly put on Facebook. That
it makes me, doesn't it? I just honestly, I'm astounded and flabbergasted that people have not got the core message of staying at home. I mean, how black and white, how clear has that message been? For me, it's absolutely obvious. Stay at home. Don't go and risk anything. But yet, some think they know better. The poachers are different, though. I mean, the world will always have a bunch of chancers, and to exploit our rivers at a time when we're in such a deep-rooted problem, that's just shocking, isn't it? I mean, words fail me to describe those particular people. It's just horrible.
And it's frustrating as well for the anglers that are actually seeing them. And I was chatting to a guy last night, and he actually went up to somebody else, and I didn't realise he was an angler. Obviously, it has social distance on my dog walk. And he'd said to this guy, he said, you shouldn't be fishing. And he said, nobody's going to see me down here. I actually saw him at a different time. So there was 2 of us that saw him. So if people are there saying, oh, nobody's going to see me, trust me, somebody will see you. Now, good morning, Scott. We do actually have 2 Scott Rutherfords coming on every day. me a bit. And we've got Scott Rutherford from Orvis in Banbury, and also my other Scott Rutherford, and he said, "Good morning. Looking forward to summer nights and big sedge hatches for big browns." He said spring's written off for him.
Absolutely, bring it on, eh?
And Nico Patton, Nico is basically coming from the Eden. Absolutely fantastic videos, folks. So do check out Nico Patton. Paul King, where the poaching with rod and reel or net. This is rod and reel, Paul, for me. So, I just looking through, we've got Steve Hatkins. He said, "I meant to be in Norway on the Gala last week of June. Had my biggest fish ever last year. Hoping for a repeat performance. Fingers crossed." I'm just going to give, because I know we've got Gillies on here as well that are coming on. We've been looking around the globe as well, everybody. Been looking at the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. They're an international organisation working with governments, policymakers and citizens. And they said with German government are going to wait until the 20th of April to decide whether current travel restrictions remain necessary and in place. And they've also got discussions in Germany around moving summer holidays into autumn. And this will provide an opportunity for families who are homeschooling now to invest in travels abroad later on in the year. And that's actually a good thought, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it's a great idea. These are the sort of things that we can feed back to our own Scottish Government to try and see if they can make our difference up here as well. But UK-wide as well, not just in Scotland. We need to think differently just now to try and get people back to doing some sort of normality. The world needs to start spending some money again to kickstart it all, so everything we can do that might generate or help with that is got to be welcome.
Yeah. And in the USA, operators, obviously there's a travel ban that was enforced on the 16th of March. And some US operators have been refocusing their content for dreaming of future travel, virtual travel, and providing future inspiration. And California have been taking the position that your adventure can wait until it's safe to travel and visit. And the Algarve tourist industry, they've been using the hashtag Don't Cancel, Postpone campaign. And that's something that we've actually been really focusing ourselves on as well, haven't we, here at FishPal?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, again, just this morning, 2 calls this morning, both want to book fishing in September and October.
I've taken one in October as well.
Yeah, so people they're kind of pushing it as far as they can. So September, on some rivers is a fantastic month to be out.
Yeah.
Even your worst, guess about when we're going to go back, surely to goodness we're back fishing by September. So if they're not, people are going to again be sensible about how they can actually help them rebook that, either for later in the season if there's still availability around, or even into the next year. So yeah, but some people just still need to plan their holidays. So that's kind of your point as well, isn't it? If you've got time to take and you want to book in, then I guess it's going to get pretty busy, and therefore the availability might go quite quickly, actually.
And just to reiterate, the experts are saying that COVID-19 will have a 45% decline in international tourism in 2020, and this could rise to 70% if recovery is delayed until September. So really it is focusing on local anglers that haven't got that far to travel, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. But as I said earlier, there are plenty of places and plenty of people that you can go that would keep our rivers once again pretty busy. If we're not going to get the foreign anglers coming across because they simply can't, there is plenty of UK-based anglers who can absolutely make the most of it and get out there, possibly getting access to fishing that they might not have had access to before because they've been booked by others. So, and everything you're talking about just now, there's always a swing to the positive. So, not least by hopefully the opportunity to fish somewhere maybe pretty special at the back end, which would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? Yeah,
very much so. And Nico Patton, he's actually from D-side. He's actually the wrong Nico. So apologies for that. Now, I think we've actually managed to give all the questions that people have come on. Oh, Melvin McDonald, he's just tuned in. We're about to go, Melvin. Too late. You're going to have to listen to this again, Pet. But it's so nice to have Melvin on, and thank you so much for the lovely feedback you've given me as well. So really much appreciated. Tomorrow's guest, I have Claire Shaw on tomorrow. She is, every week I am getting a female angler to come on. And Claire is a recent convert to fishing. And I just want to share the message out there that going fishing with your hubbies, partners, etc., and the real benefits as well for everybody. She's totally hooked, isn't she, Mark?
She's a great fisherman as well. She's totally passionate about it, and of course, she's not just that. You can see it in all the different fantastic things that she's now creating as well. So I'm sure you'll be talking a bit about that tomorrow as well, no doubts.
Well, we have a fabulous competition this weekend. Right. We're going to launch it tomorrow. It's only going to run till 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. And it's the opportunity to win one of Claire Haggis's ties, silk ties. And also as well is that we are actually giving a FishPal gift voucher. It's going to be a bit of fun for everybody. It's something that everybody can enter, and you can find the answers on the internet as well. So everybody should be able to get all the answers right. But it's just a little bit of fun because I'm having Saturday and Sunday off just to do a little bit of, doing a little bit around my house as well. So, but next Monday, next week, I've got Paul Proctor. And he's actually going to be answering. There was a carp question came on yesterday, so I've got Paul. He's going to be helping to answer that question for me. I've also got Matt Suspinski coming on, and I've got a couple of other people as well, which I'm just keeping under my hat, so that everybody will be really looking forward to next week as well. So everybody, huge thanks as always. And Mark,
one last thing, and just to reiterate that point I made at the very start, if you have fishing booked within this next lockdown period when it's finally announced, and that might be today, rest assured that we'll be writing to you individually to get you sorted out as far as rebooking for later in the season. So, and if you do need to get in touch, can I still absolutely ask you to do it through the info@fishpal.com email box. We've restricted the phone lines just now just so that we can get on with all of those rebookings, because there are literally hundreds to do. So a final plea from me, if you don't mind.
Well, take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Great stuff. Thanks, Anne. Good to see you.